Oi, lads! Nice one, you fucking idiots!
Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. This story from last Thursday night will show the failure of men in the Western world. It gives an insight into how Australians in particular were, for the most part, very compliant with nonsensical rules that were enforced by authority in recent years, even turning a blind eye to police brutality, ignoring the injustice being a convenient act of self-preservation on their part, and how the gutless are able to reframe their cowardly behaviour in their own minds to be a virtuous act of bravery. Cowards are all tough when they run in packs. So, Thursday night, after work, I'm heading along George Street up past the town hall in Sydney, and there's hundreds of people. It's very busy, and as I'm walking up past the town hall, I can see a commotion up ahead of me. I can see a bunch of young kids, 17 to 18 year olds, shouting at some guy. This guy, an Indian guy, clearly he's a bit uncomfortable with something that's going on. The kids are dispersing, but they're still shouting abuse at him. Hundreds of people, nobody stopping to help. And then one of the kids in particular, he's giving it the hard man act. You know, fucking come at me, bro, come at me, I'll fuck you up. And the Indian guy's clearly non-confrontational, and he's saying, I don't want to fight you, buddy, just leave me alone. So as I get there, I approach the guy and say, are you okay, mate? And he goes, no, can you just stay here with me? So I just stood with him, and the kids all slowly dispersed. So he starts telling me what happened. I could see that he was covered in rice, which was weird. And he starts telling me what happened. He was sitting eating some food out of a plastic container at the tram stop, and these kids just started giving him abuse, spitting on him. I think they must have knocked his food container, so that's why the rice was all over him. He said they were shouting abuse at him, spitting on him, grabbing his turban, and he was just so frustrated that nobody was stopping to help him. And so I was getting more wound up the more he told me this story. And by this point, a few other people had stopped to see if he was all right. So I say, look, I'm going to get a look at these guys, see if I can get them on film. So I get round in front of them where I saw where they ran off to, and now this is only one group of them, there was a few of them went in different directions. So I catch up to them, I'm filming them, I give them a shout so they look up instinctively, and immediately they start trying to cover their faces, seconds after they realise they're caught on film, as if it's going to make a difference.
Oi, lads! Nice one, you fucking idiots!
Now, maybe these weren't the ones that actually spat on him, but they were certainly there, and they were certainly throwing abuse at him, and they were certainly taking great pleasure at this poor guy's distressed state. I actually think White Hoodie guy was the come at me bro guy. I mean, does this look like the face of the innocent to you? So anyway, one tries to say it wasn't them, but the other three immediately start coming at me. So I decide I'll do a runner. So I'm bombing it down George Street as fast as I can. Running into a flow of hundreds of people, nobody paying attention, everyone just stuck to their phones like NPCs. They were shouting a load of stuff. Some of it got caught on the video, like they were shouting, oh, come back here, stop running, where you running, buddy, where you running to, buddy? And then there was one point they said something about taking my phone from me. And also one of them here, I think he was saying back up on your offer, and I'm wondering if that was the come at me bro guy who was trying to start fights earlier. And it's completely typical of these types who would twist the story to be that the Indian guy wanted to fight him, not that he was trying to fight a guy that was non-confrontational. And I'm thinking 1,000 things at once right now. It's pretty dark, there is street lighting, but it's still dark, and as I'm running full speed into people, I'm also continually looking behind me and to check how far these guys are from me. So every time I look back, I'm scanning a crowd of hundreds of people, seeing who's just the crowd and who's the ones chasing me and where are they, and are they close to me? Am I getting away? Are they getting closer? I'm thinking all of these things, right? I do feel that as time goes on, I'm losing them, which is good. They're dropping off. I remember White Hoodie was the one that was probably closest to me. And as I get round the corner down into the side street there, I can't remember off the top of my head what side street it is. I'll put it on the screen. But I got down there and it's a darker bit. There was less pedestrians. There was less street lighting. It was darker, so it was still a bit on edge. I'm looking out for one of these fuckers jumping me at any moment from a dark corner. Now, I'd been looking everywhere for cops, hoping a cop would stand out. Centre of Sydney, I thought there'd be some cops on patrol, but no, I couldn't see any. And when I was down in this area here, I saw a security guard with a big fluoro vest, and I'm thinking, okay, he's maybe got a radio or something. So as I'm running to him, I'm shouting, mate, can you call the cops, right? His fucking reaction, he was just so dismissive of me. He was like, mate, you're holding a phone. You're holding a phone. Why don't you call the cops? And I'm thinking, I don't have fucking time to explain the 1,000 things that are going through my head right now. I'm trying to keep myself safe. I'm getting chased. I'm looking over my shoulder. It's dark. I'm trying to separate the people chasing me from the pedestrians. I don't have time to fucking explain why I would like you as another member of society to call the fucking police for me, right? I don't have time to explain that. I can't be arsed to look down at my phone and risk getting jumped as I'm looking down at my phone. But this fucker, fucking train. Let the train go past. So the security guard, so basically I just called him a useless piece of shit and a prime example of why Australia's going to fuck. So I'm catching my breath, I dial 000 and I'm looking around. I don't think, they've not followed me. And so I'm on the phone to 000, giving them the details, and I'm walking back up to where the incident happened to go back to the Indian guy. I'm looking around, but they're not coming, and I'm just, keeping myself safe. I get back to the Indian guy. He's also on the phone to the cops. There's a few other pedestrians around him making sure he's all right. And so the cops say that they're on their way. So I'm standing waiting with the guy. 12 or 13 minutes go by, zero cops, centre of Sydney, right? So I'm getting fucking annoyed. This guy's telling me that he's in shock. He's like, he's really in shock at how nobody stopped to help. Nobody stopped to help. And he's even, since we've been texting since, he's repeated that. He's really in shock that nobody stopped to help. So anyway, after maybe 13 minutes waiting, because I remember I was timing it, I see across the tram tracks a couple of cops. So of course I take a few paces and shout out to them, hey lads, over here. And they look at me blankly, and I'm like, guys, can you come over here? And they just start slowly walking over. And of course I lose my shit. And I say, oh, do you know what? Just fuck it. Away you fucking go, you useless shower of shite. And they start walking away. And then the Indian guy shouts over, no, please come over. So these two cops come over. And I'm going to be fair, they were actually pretty decent. Look, the response time's not probably down to them. It's obviously there's some planning and operations going to where they're stationed at various points of the day. That's nothing to do with these guys. These guys were fairly decent. But it's interesting, my response to the cops comes from 3 years of seeing up close how abusive and disgusting these people can be, and how they can be used to just commit absolute violence on the peaceful public. And then when it comes time for you to need, and then when you've got a need for them, they're often unreliable. So my immediate reaction now when I see cops is I don't want anything to do with them. And I mean, even when I see a police car now, my initial reactions, I want to get away from it. I want nothing to do with them. And that's because of what's happened over the last 3 years. So anyway, these cops were pretty good. To be fair to them, Victorian cops would have arrested me for shouting at them. But these guys were good. They realised I was angry about whatever I was angry about. They de-escalated the situation, and they spoke to me and the guy that got assaulted, took the footage. And look, and I said to the guys, look, sorry for going off at you. It's based on my experience with police. It's going to take a long time for that to change. I would like it to change. I think we need a police force. But especially Victoria Police have shown that they're not there to serve the public. They're there to serve their masters, politicians, whatever. And if they're told to be violent, they will do it without question. And that's what has to change. Fucking train. Anyway, these cops were pretty good. I mean, Victoria Police, for those 3 years, were bashing the fuck out of people using their range of weapons on unarmed public. And then, of course, they blocked me on the internet when they got upset over a parody video made on their recruitment advert. Anyway, these kids, I don't know, look, I done stupid things as a kid that I regret, and I was able to learn from it. Maybe these kids need a kick up the arse, I don't know. In the past, society would have stood up to people like that. A bunch of guys would have saw what was going on and stood up and said, lads, pull your heads in, what you're doing. Maybe kicked them up the arse and sent them back home. And it would have been good for them. The main thing I was annoyed about is probably not so much those boys. It was the fucking lack of reaction from the public. Citizens of Sydney, you were put to the test and you fucking failed. It's fucking disgusting. You know, I've got, way before the COVID era, I would have to listen to some of my friends go on about, you know, if I was alive in Nazi Germany, I would have said to Hitler, no, you're bad, Hitler, and I'm standing up to you. And I'm like thinking to myself, no, you wouldn't. You're a fucking coward. And the last 3-4 years have fucking proven that. You're all fucking cowards. Where's your fucking balls? Good times have created weak men.